Why intelligent people scare society. Hello and welcome. Intelligence is usually described as something society admires. We praise people who learn quickly, solve difficult problems, create new ideas, and notice things that others miss. Schools reward intelligence, companies claim they want innovative thinkers, and entire cultures celebrate great scientists, inventors, philosophers, and artists. Yet in everyday life, highly intelligent people are not always welcomed as warmly as we might expect. Sometimes they are ignored, mocked, isolated, or treated as if there is something uncomfortable about them. This creates a strange contradiction. Society says that it values intelligence, but it often becomes defensive when intelligence questions the rules, exposes contradictions, or challenges the beliefs that make people feel safe. The problem is not simply that intelligent people know more. The real problem is that they may see what others would rather not see, and once something has been noticed, it becomes much harder to pretend that it does not exist. Of course, intelligence does not make someone automatically wise, kind, correct, or superior. An intelligent person can still be arrogant, dishonest, emotionally immature, or completely mistaken. Intelligence is only an ability. What someone does with that ability depends on their personality, values, experience, and self-awareness. However, when intelligence is combined with curiosity, independence, and the courage to speak honestly, it can become deeply unsettling to the people and systems around it. One reason intelligent people may scare society is that they ask questions which disturb comfortable answers. Most groups depend on shared assumptions. These assumptions help people cooperate because everyone knows what they are expected to believe, how they are supposed to behave, and which subjects should not be examined too closely. An intelligent person may not accept these assumptions simply because they are popular. They may ask why a rule exists, who benefits from it, whether it still makes sense, and what would happen if people stopped following it. To the person asking, these may be honest questions. To everyone else, they can feel like an attack. People often connect their beliefs to their identity, their family, their community, or their sense of morality. When someone challenges those beliefs, it may not feel like a discussion about ideas. It may feel like a challenge to the person's entire way of life. Instead of examining the question, people may defend themselves by attacking the person who asked it. This is why history contains so many examples of thinkers who were rejected before they were respected. New ideas are often praised only after they become safe. Once an idea is widely accepted, society may look back and celebrate the person who introduced it. But when the idea first appears, it can threaten reputations, careers, institutions, and deeply held beliefs. Society loves intelligence when it confirms what people already believe. It becomes far less comfortable when intelligence suggests that everyone may have been wrong. Intelligent people can also scare others because they notice inconsistencies. Many social interactions depend on small contradictions that everyone silently agrees to ignore. A company may say that it values honesty while punishing employees who report problems. A person may claim to want advice while becoming angry whenever someone disagrees. A community may praise individuality while rejecting anyone who behaves differently. Most people notice at least some of these contradictions, but they often remain silent because speaking about them creates tension. A highly observant person may find it difficult to participate in this silence. They may point out the difference between what people say and what they actually do. This can make others feel exposed, even when there was no intention to embarrass anyone. People generally want to believe that their actions are consistent with their values. When someone reveals the gap between the two, it creates psychological discomfort. It is often easier to label the observer as negative, difficult, arrogant, or strange than to confront the contradiction itself. Another reason intelligence can be threatening is that intelligent people are sometimes harder to control. Control often depends on predictability. If you know what someone wants, what they fear, and what they believe, you can often influence their behavior. You can use approval, rejection, status, guilt, authority, or social pressure to guide them in a certain direction. But a person who examines these forces may recognize what is happening. They may ask why they need the group's approval. They may notice when fear is being used to influence them. They may understand that authority does not always equal competence and that popularity does not always equal truth. This does not mean they are immune to manipulation. Intelligent people can be manipulated like anyone else, especially through their ego or their desire to believe they are different. However, independent thinking can make certain forms of control less effective, and systems built on obedience may view independent thinkers as dangerous. Society often rewards people who are intelligent enough to be useful but not independent enough to become disruptive. An employee may be praised for solving problems but criticized for questioning leadership. A student may be rewarded for giving the correct answer but discouraged from questioning the lesson itself. A creative person may be celebrated for producing something original, as long as that originality remains understandable, profitable, and socially acceptable. In this way, intelligence is often welcomed only inside invisible boundaries. You may think deeply, but not about the rules that protect powerful people. You may innovate, but not in a way that threatens the existing system. You may speak honestly, but only when your honesty does not make the room uncomfortable. The moment intelligence crosses these boundaries, admiration can quickly turn into hostility. There is also a social reason intelligent people may make others uncomfortable. Human beings naturally compare themselves to the people around them. When someone speaks with confidence, understands a subject quickly, remembers small details, or sees patterns that others missed, it may trigger insecurity. The intelligent person does not even have to behave arrogantly. Their ability alone may make someone else feel slow, uninformed, or inadequate. Instead of admitting this insecurity, people may protect their self-esteem by finding flaws in the intelligent person. They may call them pretentious, socially awkward, emotionally cold, or disconnected from reality. Sometimes these criticisms are accurate, because intelligence does not guarantee good social skills. But sometimes the criticism is simply a way of reducing the threat. If a person's intelligence makes you feel small, convincing yourself that they are unhappy, strange, or unlikable can restore your sense of balance. This dynamic often begins early in life. An intelligent child may learn that showing knowledge attracts attention they do not want. They may be mocked for using complex words, caring too much about certain subjects, or asking questions that adults cannot answer. Other children may interpret curiosity as showing off, while adults may interpret disagreement as disrespect. Over time, the child may begin hiding their intelligence to avoid rejection. They may intentionally give simpler answers, pretend not to know something, laugh at jokes they find uninteresting, or remain silent when they notice a problem. This behavior is sometimes called masking. The person learns to reduce visible parts of themselves so that other people will feel more comfortable. From the outside, they may appear quiet or distant. Internally, however, they may constantly be calculating how much of themselves it is safe to reveal. Intelligent people may also be feared because they can imagine alternatives. Every stable system depends partly on the belief that things could not work any other way. People may dislike their job, their social structure, or their political system, yet still accept it because they cannot clearly imagine an alternative. An intelligent and creative person may be able to describe another possibility. They may show that a rule is not natural, a tradition is not permanent, and an institution is not inevitable. Once people can imagine a different future, they may begin questioning the present. This is why imagination can be as threatening as criticism. Criticism says that something is wrong. Imagination says that something else is possible. Together, they can weaken the belief that the current system must continue exactly as it is. However, it is important not to romanticize every person who feels rejected. Feeling misunderstood does not prove that someone is intelligent, and disagreement does not prove that society is afraid of the truth. Sometimes people are rejected because they communicate badly, treat others with disrespect, refuse to listen, or assume that being intelligent means they are always right. Real intelligence includes the ability to question yourself. It means recognizing the limits of your knowledge and understanding that another person may know something you do not. A person who constantly tells everyone how intelligent they are may be protecting insecurity rather than demonstrating wisdom. Truly intelligent people often understand how easily the human mind can become trapped by its own confidence. This is where emotional intelligence becomes important. Seeing contradictions is not enough. A person must also understand how to communicate what they see. If you expose someone's mistake in a way that humiliates them, they will probably defend their pride rather than consider your argument. If you treat every conversation as a competition, people will remember how you made them feel, not whether your point was correct. The goal should not be to make others feel inferior. The goal should be to help people see more clearly. Sometimes this requires patience, empathy, timing, and the ability to explain complex ideas in simple language. Intelligence without empathy can become cruelty, while empathy without critical thinking can become avoidance. The most powerful combination is the ability to see difficult truths while still respecting the human beings who are struggling to accept them. Society does not always fear intelligent people because intelligence itself is dangerous. Society often fears what intelligence can reveal. It can reveal that authority is not always competent, that traditions are not always moral, that popularity is not the same as truth, and that a confident explanation can still be completely wrong. It can expose the stories people use to protect themselves from uncertainty. Most people want to feel that the world is understandable, that their choices make sense, and that the systems around them are stable. Intelligent questioning can remove that feeling of stability. It can replace certainty with doubt, simple answers with complicated questions, and comfortable beliefs with uncomfortable possibilities. Although this process can be painful, it is also how progress begins. Every major improvement in human history required someone to look at what was considered normal and ask whether it could be better. Those people were not always accepted. Some were laughed at, some were punished, and many were ignored. But their willingness to think differently expanded what society believed was possible. The challenge for intelligent people is not simply to speak more loudly. It is to learn when to speak, how to speak, and which battles truly matter. The challenge for society is to stop treating uncomfortable questions as personal attacks and to understand that disagreement can be a form of care. A person who questions a system may not be trying to destroy it. They may be trying to prevent it from destroying itself. Perhaps intelligent people scare society because they remind us that the world is not as simple as we want it to be. They remind us that our beliefs can be wrong, our institutions can fail, and our identities can be built around assumptions we have never examined. Yet they also remind us that change is possible. We can learn, adapt, improve, and create something better than what already exists. Intelligence becomes threatening when it is used to dominate, but it becomes transformative when it is used to understand. The goal is not to prove that you are smarter than everyone else. The goal is to notice what others have missed, communicate it with humility, and use that understanding to make life more honest, fair, and meaningful. Thank you for watching. If this video gave you a new perspective, consider subscribing for more videos about psychology, human behavior, and the hidden forces that shape the way we think.